A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. When Yazid took power in Damascus in 60 AH, he insisted on bay'at from Imam Hussain. To agree to this demand would have meant the end of Islam. So Imam Hussain, with the Ahlul Bayt, had to leave Medina and go towards Mecca. But here too, spies were sent and they were forced to leave. He went so he could reform the Muslims and bring them back to the true message of Islam. The Imam, with his family, went towards Kufa. On their way there, they were surrounded by Yazid's army near the bank of the river Furat in the month of Muharram 61 AH. Water was denied to the young and old in the camp of Hussain. During this time, Imam Zain al-Abideen fell ill and he was so sick that he fainted. A fierce battle took place in Karbala on the 10th of Muharram. His severe illness prevented him from taking part in the battle on the day of Ashura. Imam Zain al-Abideen says there was no day like the day of al-Hussain when 30,000 men advanced against him. The battle started at dawn, but by the time of Asr, there was no one left. Imam Hussain called out from the battle, "Hal min nasiri yansurna? Is there anybody to help me?" Our brave fourth Imam, though he was very, very ill, stood up and was ready to go towards the battleground. He asked for a dagger, but his aunt Bibi Zainab stopped him. He was so weak from his illness that he fell unconscious. Imam Hussain left all the ladies in the care of his son and Bibi Zainab and went out. The battle raged. Soon a voice was heard calling, "Hussain has been killed in Karbala." The army of Yazid began beating their drums. The ground shook. The sky wept tears of blood. The head of Imam Hussain was raised up on a spear. Imam Zain al-Abideen pointed towards the head and said, "Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah Hussain." Imam Zain al-Abideen was now the Imam of the time. The army of Yazid now dashed into the camp and put heavy chains around the Imam's neck and his ankles. The mat that he lay on was pulled away. Shimr wanted to kill him, but his aunt, Hazrat Zainab, hurried to save him and clung to him, saying, "You will not kill him before killing me first." So his life was spared. Then they set fires to the tents. No other Imam began his imamat in a more tragic atmosphere. As the flames rose high, the Imam was asked by his aunt, Hazrat Zainab, "Oh my son, you are the Imam. Tell us, what do we do? Do we go out or remain inside?" He replied, "Oh my aunt, we have to go out of this burning tent." They came out to spend the night in the darkness on the sand of Karbala. The fourth Imam recalled the scene for many years with tears in his eyes. He said, "Whenever I look at my aunts and sisters, tears come to my eyes. I remember the time when they were running from one tent to another, while the enemies were shouting." Imam Zain al-Abideen, though so ill and weak, was bound in heavy chains and made to follow on foot. The heads of the martyrs were carried on spears. Soon they reached the outskirts of Kufa. The governor Ibn Ziyad ordered that the family of Imam Hussain should be taken to the streets of Kufa. The people had been told that a rebel had been defeated by Yazid in Karbala. They came out in their hundreds and climbed onto rooftops to get a glimpse. Imam Zain al-Abideen knew that he must let everyone know the truth. He had to say the message of Islam. Though his hands were tied with ropes and his neck was bleeding, he spoke to the people of Kufa. "O people, whoever knows me, and he who does not know me should know that I am Ali, the son of Hussain, who was killed thirsty near the river Euphrates, and the son of the one who was killed cruelly, and the son of the one who was dishonored and whose entire belongings were looted and plundered. I am the son of the one whose women and children were made prisoners." The Imam reminded them that they were the very people who had invited his father, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. "O people, I put you on your oath to tell me in the name of Allah whether you know that at one time you wrote letters to my father and then deceived him. You made firm promises with him and then rose to fight against him. How will you face the Prophet of Allah when you are brought before him on the day of judgment?" The Imam's sermon changed the thinking of the people of Kufa. They blushed with shame. They tried to control themselves, but could not. They started to sob and moan. Then they started to weep loudly. Then they began blaming one another. Some cried out, "O son of the Prophet of Allah, all of us will hear what you say and obey your orders. We will honor the promises made with you. We will not forsake you and will not side with anyone else." But the Imam knew that these words were not true. They were just like the false promises that they had made to his father, Imam Hussain. Imam Sajjad said, "O unfaithful and inconsistent people, you will never prosper. Do you want to behave towards me in the same manner in which you behaved towards my forefathers? No, it cannot be so." Then the family of Imam Hussain was brought before Ibn Ziyad, the governor of Yazid. The tyrant, turning towards the Imam, asked, "Who are you?" Ali ibn al-Hussain, came the reply. "Didn't Allah kill Ali ibn al-Hussain?" shouted Ibn Ziyad. Imam Zain al-Abideen corrected him. "I had a brother who was named Ali ibn al-Hussain, and he was killed by people." "Allah killed him," insisted Ibn Ziyad. The Imam, quoting a verse from the Holy Quran, said, "Allah takes souls at the time of death." Ibn Ziyad was furious and shouted, "Take this man and cut his head off." But Hazrat Zainab alayhi salam placed her hand on the neck of Imam Sajjad and said to Ibn Ziyad, "If you intend to kill him, you have to kill me with him." There was such uproar in the court that the tyrant could not do him any harm. The journey from Kufa to Sham took 3 weeks. The caravan of captives, the orphans, the ladies tied up in ropes, and Imam Zain al-Abideen in chains was given very little food and water. In the blazing sun of the desert, the chains would get hot and burn his skin, but the Imam never complained. The desert was so hot that the water would often dry up inside the water skins. The Imam was ill, and without water and hardly any food, he would collapse from the severe heat and thirst. In spite of his suffering, Imam Zain al-Abideen did not let his grief stop him from spreading the true message of Islam. At every stop, he would give a speech so that people learned about Karbala and what had happened there. They learnt about the sufferings of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and the holy Ahlul Bayt. The captives reached the city of Damascus on the 1st of Safar 61 AH. The caravan was made to wait for several hours so that the people could complete their decorations, as they rejoiced at the victory of Yazid over the grandson of the Prophet. Whenever our fourth Imam was asked, "Where did you suffer the most?" he replied, "Asham, Asham, Asham." Perhaps the reason the Imam said Sham 3 times was the fact that there were 3 places where the Imam had to suffer deep sorrow and agony. Number 1, the Bazar-e-Sham, the streets where the Ahlul Bayt were taken through. Number 2, the Darbar-e-Sham, when the Imam and the ladies of the holy household were brought before the drunk Yazid. Number 3, the Zindan-e-Sham, when the Imam and the family of the Prophet were kept in prison. Finally, it was time for the Ahlul Bayt to be taken to the Darbar of Yazid. A rope was brought. Imam Zain al-Abideen and his aunts and the rest of the ladies were tied with their hands behind their necks. They were then dragged along. Yazid turned to Imam Zain al-Abideen and threatened that he would be put to death. The young Imam boldly replied, "For me, the worst possible torture has been my standing here with my mothers and sisters, with my aunts and cousins, without any veils to cover their heads and faces. Do not for a moment think that I am frightened by your threats. We, the descendants of the Holy Prophet of Islam, peace be upon him, have been trained from childhood to face sufferings." Yazid ordered a speaker to mount the pulpit and publicly abuse Imam Ali alayhi salam and his descendants, including Imam Hussain. Imam Zain al-Abideen said to the man, "Woe unto you! To please a creature, you have displeased your Creator." Yazid asked, "And what will please the Creator?" "Let me mount the mimbar, and I will tell you." Yazid was not keen, but the people wanted to hear the Imam, so he had to allow it. The Imam went on the mimbar or pulpit, and after praising Allah, he introduced himself. "Those who know me, they know me, and those who do not know me, listen, from among us is Muhammad, the chosen Prophet. From among us is the truthful one, Imam Ali. From among us is Fatima, the mistress of all the women. From among us is Ja'far al-Tayyar. From among us is the Lion of Allah, Hamza. From among us are the two grandchildren of the Prophet, Hassan and Hussain. Having introduced his family, he continued his speech. I am the son of Makkah and Mina. I am the son of Zamzam and Safa. I am the son of the noble one who placed the black stone in the Kaaba. I am the son of the one who was taken from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa. I am the son of one on whom Allah sent revelations. I am the son of Muhammad Mustafa. I am the son of Ali Murtaza. I am the son of the best of believers. I am the son of Amir al-Mu'mineen. I am the son of light of the Muhajjideen. I am the son of the best of the family of Yasin. I am the son of the first from among the believers. I am the son of Fatima Zahra. I am the son of Khadijat al-Kubra. I am Ali, the son of Hussain, who was killed unjustly in Karbala. I am the son of him whose head was severed from the neck. I am the son of the one who was killed and left in a pool of his own blood. I am the son of the one who was killed thirsty. I am the son of him over whom the angels wept. I am the son for whom the birds in the air cried. His fearless speech moved everyone to tears. The people began to weep. Yazid wanted to stop the Imam, but couldn't. So he ordered the Muazzin to call out the Azan. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The Imam said, Allahu Akbar, there is nothing greater than Allah. The Muazzin said, La ilaha illallah. The Imam said, my hair, my skin, my blood, my brain, my bones, all bear witness that there is no God but Allah. The Muazzin said, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Imam Zain al-Abideen turned to Yazid and asked, is Prophet Muhammad your grandfather or mine? If you say he is yours, you are a liar. If you say he is mine, then why did you kill his family? Yazid was stunned and silent, unable to answer. He could no longer hide the facts from the people. The Imam's speech showed the great position of the Ahlul Bayt. Yazid started to hit the head of Imam Hussain with a cane. Yahya bin Hakam, a companion of the Holy Prophet, shouted, Yazid, stop hitting Hussain. By Allah, I have seen the Holy Prophet Muhammad kiss these lips. Yazid angrily expelled Yahya from the court. The family of Imam Hussain was sent to the prison. The prison was a dark cell which let in very little light. Imam Zain al-Abideen and the ladies of the holy household spent their time in mourning for their loved ones and in prayer. Food and water sent from them was not enough to feed them all. When Bibi Sakina, his 4-year-old sister, died in the prison, it was Imam Zain al-Abideen alayhi salam who had to dig her grave and bury her. The news of her death spread through Damascus. People started asking questions. They were turning against Yazid. So Yazid called the 4th Imam and told him that he was free to go. Yazid asked the Imam what he wanted to do next. The 4th Imam said, we wish to return to Medina via Karbala, but before that we would like to mourn my father, Imam Hussain, and the martyrs of Karbala. We have not been yet allowed to grieve for our dear ones. Give us back the belongings you looted from us. Give us back the heads of the martyrs so that they can be buried. Right in the city of Damascus, where Yazid ruled, the first Majlis to mourn Imam Hussain was held. A house was made available for the Ahlul Bayt. The people of Damascus, dressed in black, came to find out what had happened in Karbala. The message spread. The Majlis created a stir in the city, and the sound of crying and wailing made Yazid fear the turn of events. He wanted the Ahlul Bayt to leave Damascus as soon as possible. Imam Zain al-Abideen and the widows, who were overcome with grief, reached Karbala on the day of Arba'een. He was met there by Jabir bin Abdullah, the famous companion of the Holy Prophet, and the first Zair, or pilgrim, of Imam Hussain. The 4th Imam looked at Jabir and said, O Jabir, this is the very place where our men were killed, our women taken prisoner, and our tents set on fire. Imam Zain al-Abideen buried the heads with the bodies of the martyrs. Bibi Zainab and the ladies of the family wept continuously. They sobbed at the graves of their dear ones. They recalled all that had happened on the day of Ashura. After spending 3 days in Karbala, Imam Zain al-Abideen, seeing the distress of the Ahlul Bayt, decided to prepare for for the return journey to Medina.